We welcome to the show Tippa Irie. How's it going?
It's going fine, Chris. How are you? Things are good. I just got a brand new album released on the 15th of September, so things are wonderful.
Great. So this is your 18th studio album, isn't it? I'm an African. As you say, it was out the 15th of September. What can you tell us about it?
Well, the album, basically, it's got 16 tracks. It's got a variety of styles of reggae music, if you like. It's got roots, lovers rock, dancehall. So it's got a variety, a bit of, virtually everything for whatever genre of reggae you like. There's a bit of it on there. You know what I mean? But the album, the title track is basically, it's kind of self-explanatory. It basically is just, talking about me, you know what I mean? Knowing where I'm coming from. Obviously, my ancestors are African. My parents are from Jamaica. I grew up in England, you know what I mean? And basically the song's just talking about just praising the motherland, because a lot of the time there's a lot of negative, issues or things that people portray about Africa. But, so I just wanted to basically big up the continent and also talk about growing up in the UK as a Black person. You know what I mean? And I think basically that's what I did in the song. So it's got, a wide variety of tunes, you know what I mean? And there's a tune on there called Minibus Man, which is talking about my experience of getting on the minibuses in Jamaica.
Great. So did you record this during the lockdown or was it after?
Yeah, some of it was in the lockdown. I think it might have just been just before, actually. I think me and Errol might have worked in the lockdown. But the other tune with well, in fact, I think me and Apache too, because even in the song, he says, locked up and locked down and whatever. I think if I remember right, it's just lyrics have gone out of my head right now. But yeah, I think he actually says it in the song. So yeah, I think both of them were recorded lockdown time.
Yeah. So how long did it take you to make the album? Was it a process of years or?
Well, I'd say maybe about 3 years, because you pick and you choose, because it was like, maybe about, I don't know, 25 tunes, 30 tunes. And then you got the management like, nah, I don't like that one, Tip. Yeah, that one's good, but not right for the album. This one's great, this, that. So we kind of pick, choose, say yes, no, we like that, we don't like that, this, that, and then you windle it down. So we windle it down to 16 tunes, But yeah, in fact, one of the tunes was done a little while back. And I think a couple of them, the tune which was done about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I just left it. And then, I think, yeah, that's that tune. That was probably the only tune. But then sometimes I thought, you know what? And then sometimes I'm stumbling and go from my arm job and thinking, oh my God, this tune. And I thought, you know what, this tune could work for the album. And then, so it did. So I'd say about 3 years it took me to get all of the tracks together, production, mixing, mastering, everything.
And with the recording, how do you know when it's perfect?
Well, you just feel it. It's a feeling, especially with reggae music, you know what I mean? And normally when I see my engineer nodding his head, and he's nodding his head, and then I'm there, and then you play it to your family, and they're not yes people, you know what I mean? My son, Micah, he'll come in and say, yep, that one, they sound good, and then, tunes like even the tune with Errol, that wasn't for him, you know what I mean? He was like, nah, I don't know about this one, Dad. But then you play it to somebody from that age group, if you like, then, or that era, and they remember the song or they remember the instrumental, and it bring that, oh my God, this is really nice. This is really good. So certain people like different things. you know.
Yeah.
So you
So there's
kind
a
of
bit of
got to, but
everything for everybody on this album then.
yeah, yeah, and it's the feeling. It's for me. It's the feeling. You just know, as a musician. For me, I know. You know when you got a good tune because you just want to play it, and it finishes too quickly. When you're playing a tune and you're thinking, "Oh no, I don't want this to end," and then you got to start it again and again and again. That's how I know. If I do a tune and I play it, and I think, "Oh, okay," and then I leave it, and I don't really want to go revisit it, then I think, you know what? It's not happening. But when I want to play it again and I'm smiling while I'm playing it and I'm feeling I want to get up and dance, then I know I'm on the right track.
Yeah. And I, of course, got to talk to you about "Hello, Darling," that song.
Yeah,
How did that happen?
yeah. Well, that was amazing time for me. You know, obviously I was really doing well at that time with Saxon Sound System because I was working with Maxi Priest, Smiley Culture, Papa Levi. There was a wealth of talent around on the sound system at that time. And so for me, I just got signed to Greensleeve Records, you know, because Greensleeves was snapping up all of the, you know, the talent on Saxon Sound System. In fact, Papa Levi went to Ireland and Maxi got signed to Virgin, and Tippa Irie, Sandy, Rusty, Colonel, all of us got signed to Greensleeves. So basically, I was releasing tunes on Greensleeves. Tippa Irie and the Colonel, Just to Speak, It's Good to Have the Feeling You're the Best, The Complaint Neighbor, all these tunes. And then Hello Darling came along. You know, I think I was doing It's Good to Have the Feeling You're the Best. I was recording that single, and there was a break in the recording. And I just started to sing, Hello Darling, hello good looking, and my producer, Chris, was like, Tippa, what's that? I said, oh, it's just a tune that I'm working on. He said, go home and write that now. That sounds really, really, really good. That sounds catchy. So basically, I was outside of a dance in Parade Street, Paddington. There was a club called the People's Club, and we used to play there. So I went back into the dance, and I was like, hello, singing the tune, and them looks like, what's he on now? I bet it's some girl he's met or something while he's singing that tune. But anyway, I went home after the studio session, you know, going back to, you know, how it came about. Well, that's how it came about initially. And then obviously I went in the studio, 45 in the tune. And so I went home, wrote the tune, brought it back to them, and Chris loved it. And so there was a band, I don't know if you remember, called the Reggae Regulars. And they had a few tunes on Greensleeve. You know, I think they were Greensleeve's first artist that Greensleeve Records actually released. There's a guy called Patrick Donegan, and he's a guitarist for the band. So him and some session musicians, Drumpton Ward and a few others, they started to work on the track. So once they got the groove, we actually used the Lindrum, which was a popular drum machine at the time, to do the drum programming, which was done by a guy called Lindell Lewis. So he programmed the drums. Then we had Kyle Brown on guitar. And then we had a guy, God rest his soul, Ray Carlos, who just passed away recently, on saxophone. And yeah, we just meshed it together. And Lindell just guided me through the vocals, and you know, he could also sing, so he just taught me how to do the harmonies on the tune. So I just followed his lead. And he done all the piano work, the engineering work, and he mixed it. He actually mixed, I believe, Can't Be With You Tonight as well by Judy Boucher. So he's a very talented guy. And he, you know, so he just guided us through us, and the tune, we managed to complete it. And then we knew, listening to it in the studio, that this tune was something special. But you see, at that time, Saxon, we were the flavor of the moment at that time. You know what I'm saying? So anything, when you're hot and you're, you know, and anything that you kind of give the public, they would at least listen to it because you're the flavor of the moment. So enough of my friends, they were like, where you going with that little soft tune? That little weak, you know, little pop tune, nah, man, that, because Levi, I think he he just went to #1 in Jamaica with My God, My King. I don't know if you remember that tune, but it's called My God, My King. It was the first British artist to go to #1 in Jamaica. You know what I mean?
Big deal,
And
yeah.
it was from, yeah, it was a big deal at the time. So obviously he was on a high. You know what I mean? So when I came with my soft little hello, darling, hello, good looking, and his tune was a radical tune, I think it was Maxi Priest that actually dragged him out of bed to go and do that tune, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, we done Hello Darling. We done all the normal promotion stuff, sent it out, and it just took off like a rocket. And I think it was, I don't know if you remember Kid Jensen and John Sachs, David Rodigan, all of them guys, they were on Capitol. You know what I mean? So I think it was Kid Jensen was at a club, and we used to obviously mail out the tunes to all the clubs, and he must have been at a club and he heard the tune come on, and he goes, oh my God, what's this? This is a hit. And so he took it to Capitol and started to play it, and then the rest was history. It just took off straight into the national charts. I think it got to about number 22 in the pop charts.
Brilliant.
And then, yeah, that kind of changed my life.
Yeah, very catchy song.
Yes.
So you're also going to be performing at Skarmouth in Great Yarmouth next weekend, aren't you? I'm going to be going. Can you tell us about
so
it?
I'll get to meet you.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, well, I'm actually doing your job, mate. I'm going to be doing a DJ set there, actually. Last time I played there was with my band. And then she asked me to come back this time and play some music. So I'm going to definitely do that. And I'm looking forward to it. I mean, the day before I'm in Huddersfield, there's a show called the Venn Street Reunion, which is like a classic sound system event. Because Venn Street is a venue where all of the original sound system used to play back in the day. So they're having a reunion. So I'm going to do that in Huddersfield. And then I'm going to leave from there and drive to Skarmouth and do Great Yarmouth. I might stay up there a couple of days, who knows. And then I'm also at the Hackney Empire on the 30th of October.
Great.
So that's going to be good. With Black, do you remember Black Slate?
Yes, I do. Amigo.
Yes, exactly.
But with reggae, it's always been there, but there was kind of a revival, wasn't there, back in the day? But what was that period like?
Yeah. Well, it's good. I mean, the music, like you said, it's always there. A lot of the time, it's a revival because you may be not into that scene or you're not in that scene. But the music is still powerful and it's still popular all over the world. In places like California, you've got the Cali Roots scene where you've got a lot of these bands like Slightly Stupid, Soulja, Pepper, Groundation, all these kind of bands. They're playing in front of thousands of people. Steel Pulse goes over there a lot and play as well. So they're playing in front of thousands of people. So the reggae music, it's growing more and more. And then obviously you've got the Caribbean, where it's always be forever there. It's changed. The music's changed a lot now. The dancehall scene is more kind of like this trappy kind of hip-hoppy kind of vibes that they're doing, which is not really reggae as far as I'm concerned. But, yeah, exactly. It's a different thing, a different scene, a different vibe, maybe for the younger generation. But for me, it's not really reggae, you know what I mean? But you still got also people like Protege, Chronix, Jesse Royal, Leela IK, all these kind of artists that are still doing like real reggae music. And then obviously over here in the UK, you still got Tippa Irie, Maccabee, people like that. We're still doing, our reggae, dancehall music, roots music. And then you still got the Lovers Rock scene that is still very vibrant, Janet Kay, Carol Thompson, they're still doing a lot of shows. A lot of people, still going out to see people like that. They've still got the Giants Lovers Rock. I think that's happening in October, and that's always sold out at the Indigo too. So, reggae is still vibrant. Still, obviously, we wish that we could get more play on the stations that pay, You know what I mean? Which would be nice if we could get some more play on Radio 1 and Capital and Kiss and Magic and Smooth and, you know, My Soul, you know, all these stations, you know, if they would just play our music more in the daytimes so that we could earn a lot more revenue, it'd be nice.
I never get it either, because in the summertime, reggae, it's perfect, isn't it? And like you say,
and it's everywhere.
Big mainstream stations, you don't hear it much. You may hear UB40 or somebody like that, but you don't really hear enough reggae.
No, but if you think of artists like Peter Huntingale, Lloyd Brown, Bitty McLean, you know, Barry Boom, you know, Janet Kay, Carol Thompson, Sandra Cross, you know, Louisa Marks, you know, all these artists, they make good music, and it's not music that's offensive, and it's love songs. It's songs that, you know, people, you know, because when I went to see Carol and Janet the other day, there was a young, you know, well, she wasn't young anymore. She was, you know, a big woman, you know, and she's a white lady, you know, she bought Carol Thompson's album when she was 15. You know, and she's been with Carol right through her career till now, till the other day. So I've gone to a lot of those road shows and stuff like that, and you're there and performing. I think I did a cover version, "Girl of My Best Friend," once with Peter Spence, and we went to a Capitol Road show, and we were playing on there, and the kids loved it. They love the music, they love the vibes. Whether it be, you know, when you see them now, even today, they're dancing, they go to the jungle raves, and they, you know, it's mainly fill up of young white kids, and they're there rocking and enjoying themselves to, you know, music of, you know, of urban music. You know what I'm saying? So we know that, you know, it's not the music and it's not the people, it's the gatekeepers that are probably not giving the music the exposure that it deserves.
Yeah, and with Britain, England, we've always loved reggae, haven't we? Ever since it's arrived.
Yeah, well, if you think of at Skarmouth, you know, it's white skinheads.
Yeah,
you know, let's be honest, that are there, you know, and they're rocking to reggae music. You know what I'm saying? So whatever you want to call it, whether it be if Beres Hammond comes over, it's going to be more of a black audience, you know, but there's still going to be a lot of white people that love Beres. You know what I'm saying? And then there's going to be, you know, the people like you've got, you know, the Pauline Blacks, the Selectors, you've got the, you know, Selectors Specials, all these kind of groups, you know what I mean? That, you know, they've got their scene, you know what I'm saying? And the people them love, and the beat, you know, Rankin Roger and Dave Wake. Yeah, exactly. He's another soldier that's gone, you know, and all these people that, you know, they got a scene. And the scene, the Scar scene, and it's a good scene, it's a nice scene, and the people them are supportive, but they love the music.
Great, and I particularly like your collaborations with China Black and Apache Indian. What was it like working with them?
Yeah, well, Apache Indian, obviously, he always wanted to work with me, you know what I mean? And he's been a fan of mine from, you know, back in the day. So when I believe he reached out to me to do a combination with him, a collaboration with him. So I was like, yo, let's do it. In fact, you know what it was, Chris? When the lockdown was on, there was, obviously we weren't doing shows and no gigs or nothing like that. So I set up a dubplate company called Dubplate Central, which is basically, you know, getting people like Janet Kay, Carol Thompson, General Levy, all these people to do dubplates for sound systems. So Apache Indian, a few requests came in for Apache Indian. So I reached out to him and said, yo, brethren, I want to do some dubplates with you. So he's like, yeah, okay, things are slow at the moment because obviously we're not out doing shows. So he said, yeah. So I said, you know, so then he's like, boy, I think we should do a tune. So I said, okay, let's do it. You know what I mean? So we did. So he wrote the hook and his parts, and then he left the gaps for me to fill in. And that's what I did. And then, you know, we came together and we came up with this tune called Hot Stuff, where it's basically, we're just bigging up the women, basically. You know what I mean? And which is always a good thing. You know what I mean? And then Errol Reed from China Black lives up the road.
Oh, brilliant.
He lives down the street from me, you know. So it was like every so often we bump into each other, walking or whatever. So in fact, to be honest, this tune that I chose to do with him it's on the instrumental of a tune called Can't Be With You Tonight, which was a number 2 pop hit from Judy Boucher back in the day, back in the 80s. I think about 1987. And my missus' dad actually wrote that song, you know. So we got Peter Hunningale to write, to play back the actual original. So he played back the instrumental, and we left it for a little while. And then one day I was going through my hard drive, and you know, and I thought, oh wow, this tune, I forgot about this. I forgot that we built this rhythm. And so I just wrote the tune. I made a wish on it. And then I said, right, I am more of an MC. I need somebody that can hit these notes. You know what I'm saying? So I thought of Maxi Priest and I thought of Errol, you know. Well, Maxi was gonna do it, but he was taking long. So I thought, you know what? Errol's up the road. Let me call Errol. And Errol came in and he smashed it. So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna go with Errol. Anyway, we've done it, we mixed it, put it all together. He came in, done his part. I wrote, done my part, so put it all together. Peter mixed it, and the rest is history. British artists, you know, it's difficult for us because our tunes are not getting played on certain stations out in the Caribbean, and they're not getting played. They're getting played here, but they're getting played on pirate radio, which is not paying the bills, unfortunately.
So yeah, so you rely on live performance, don't you? Really?
Yeah,
going out on the road.
Basically, yeah, that's the way that we survive. You know what I mean? Because, and obviously, there's a market for dub plates. You know, where there's thousands of DJs and thousands of sounds around the world, and they've got that ego thing where they want to big up themselves. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you know, they want Tippa Irie to sing a dub plate about them, and I can make up a lyric on the spot. You know what I mean? Just like that, I can talk about Chris Watts. You know what I mean?
It was funny though, because at the last Skarmoth, one of the DJs there, yes, he had a dub plate, and you was doing it. So
yeah.
And he said,
well, there you go.
Yeah, he said, don't ask me how much it was, but I got to play it.
Yeah. But there you go. So, you know, it is what it is, man. But we need to eat. We need to survive.
Yeah,
Survival is the name of the game. Got to pay these bills. You know what I'm saying? The lights. Got to keep the light on. You know? Got to keep the light. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Especially with these energy crisis, what's going on right now. We definitely need to keep the light on. But yeah, man, it's all good, man. But we're keeping our chin up, keeping it moving, keeping it, you know, keeping it grooving, as we say. We keep the vibes flowing, you know what I mean? So that's what we're going to do, you know, and I'm really happy about the new album. I'm getting a lot of good, positive feedback, doing a lot of interviews to promote it. So just trying to bring the music to the people until the Father say when.
Well, thanks a lot for joining us, Tippa.
No problem, my brother. Thank you very much, and much respect. And, you know, thanks for the support, people. Maximum respect. Hope you enjoyed the interview. Link up, tippairie.com.